X, stop hating, man. Get your mind right, man. You know what I'm saying? Don't be mad because I'm doing what I'm doing right now, man. Get your mind right, dog. Get your mind right.
You know who the fuck I'm talking to, nigga. You only alive because of me, motherfucker. You only alive because of me, you Yeah, remember Chicago. That's all I'ma say, Lo. Remember Chicago, nigga.
What's up with the Ja Rule shit, man? I mean, I know y'all been going back at it for a while.
Still, I don't fuck with that nigga, son. I don't fuck with that nigga. And like, you know, for what it's worth, yo, he need to thank me. Thank me, son. Thank me. Don't talk shit about me. Thank me. Thank me.
DMX once said, "I never had beef. If I had beef with Ja Rule, man, there wouldn't be a Ja Rule." And the thing is, he wasn't exaggerating. J Rule actually came terrifyingly close to losing his life. See, DMX wasn't just respected in hip-hop, he had serious ties in the streets, most notably with the Latin Kings, one of the most feared gangs in America, and his connection ran straight to the top, through their leader, Co.
Got some bad news. Kato's dead, man. What? Yeah, Kato's dead, man. You can't be serious, man.
So close, in fact, that DMX even recorded a song for him after his death. So when the tension with Ja Rule reached its peak, X had no problem calling on the Latin Kings to handle business. And that's when Ja truly felt his life hanging by a thread. But the pressure didn't end there. DMX started exposing Ja Rule's hidden scandals.
You know he be fucking niggas too, right?
No.
Yeah, man, some nigga that was styling his clothes and shit. I got the inside information, man. Some nigga that was styling his clothes for one of them shows, got him ecstasy that one night and fucked him. All those fucking niggas, I'm telling you, dog. Oh my mama. Oh my mama.
Let's rewind and dig deeper into DMX and Ja Rule's relationship. Before the beef, before the shots and the chaos, the two were actually cool. They were friends. In fact, DMX played a major role in Ja Rule's early come-up. Back in the beginning, Ja was running as X's hype man, riding with him everywhere, learning the ropes, and feeding off the raw energy DMX brought to the stage.
And you never felt you needed a hype man or wanted a hype man? Or?
Actually, my first hype man was Ja Rule.
I can bring it from up here. Enough is enough. Down to height, I think it's safe to take off the cuffs. I play with words, slurs and slurs, flip style.
Oh, I thought it was dragging on.
Nope.
Their bond only tightened after Ja secured his Def Jam deal through Irv Gotti, marking a pivotal moment in both their careers. The stage.
You know what I'm saying? Irv Gotti, we shooting this video, and of course, my brother.
Always.
At the time, Irv Gotti was grinding behind the scenes as both producer and executive, determined to build something legendary at Def Jam, and Ja Rule was central to that vision. Ja's first solo debut on Wax came November 28, 1995, when Mick Geronimo dropped Time to Build, produced by Irv and featuring Ja, Jay-Z, and DMX. Fast forward to 1997, DMX finally signed his own Def Jam deal. Around the same time, Jay-Z and Ja Rule were also locked in, and the three began forming a powerful trio that looked ready to dominate hip-hop. With Irv's backing, the machine was in motion. He even launched his own imprint under Def Jam, Murder Inc. Records, with Ja as the marquee star. X and Ja kept feeding off each other too. On November 4th, 1997, they linked again on Mick Geronimo's Usual Suspects, keeping that chemistry alive. But everything shifted the next year. On May 19th, 1998, DMX dropped its Dark and Hell is Hot, a debut so explosive it moved over 250,000 copies in its first week, instantly making him the hottest name in rap, and quietly planting the seeds of tension. By December 27th, 1998, he doubled down with Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood. That project carried Blackout with Jay-Z, and another track, We Don't Give an F, where X slipped in subliminals aimed at Jay, the first real signal that cracks in their friendship were starting to show.
Still mad at myself for letting that shit go down. Somebody should have told me I was with a clown.
Meanwhile, Ja Rule was gearing up for his solo breakout. On March 2nd, 1999, he dropped Holla Holla, a hard-hitting banger that started gaining major traction and eventually peaked at number 35 on the Billboard Hot 100. But as the single blew up, fans, industry insiders, and even DMX couldn't help but notice how Jay's flow, delivery, and overall energy carried striking similarities to X's style. To many, it felt like Ja was borrowing directly from DMX's blueprint. Things escalated further during the video shoot for Holla Holla. Ja had invited both DMX and Jay-Z to make appearances, but at the last moment, they backed out. According to Ja, it was like they felt they had already outgrown him, and that disrespect cut deep.
I never had a problem with Jay's success, never had a problem with X's success. So I rooted for them, I cheered for them, you know, but I never got the same love on time. It was one of those things like, I guess they was too big to be in my video.
That moment cut deep, leaving Jia with a chip on his shoulder. He felt he had something to prove, that he didn't need DMX or Jay-Z to validate him, that he could rise on his own terms. But DMX didn't see it that way. To him, it wasn't just independence, it was betrayal. X took it as blatant disrespect, and on top of that, he felt Ja was straight up jacking his whole identity.
I really wanted to get away from them two and show the world that I don't need them two to make hit records. You understand? Like, I don't need them two to make myself a success.
Just months later, on June 1st, 1999, Ja Rule dropped his debut studio album, Veni Veti Veci. It opened at number 3 on the Billboard 200, moving 185,000 copies in its first week. Among the tracks was the now iconic It's Murda, featuring both Jay-Z and DMX. At the time, it looked like the trio was still united, but what nobody realized was this would be the last record to ever feature Ja, Jay, and X together. That same month, XXL put them on the cover, hyping up a supposed supergroup called Murder Inc. They even recorded a few tracks, but behind the scenes, the cracks were already spreading, especially between X and Ja. DMX was still bitter, convinced Ja sounded too much like him, and the energy just wasn't the same. Then came the Florida incident, a moment that showed how bad things had gotten. During the Hard Knock Life Tour in '99, DMX, Ja Rule, Memphis Bleek, and Lenny S were riding in Florida when they got pulled over. After some heated words between X and the cop, they ended up ditching the car and walking down the side of the road. That's when a fan spotted them and pulled over to offer a ride.
DMX, Ja Rule, Memphis Bleek, and Lenny S is on the side of the f***ing highway.
Yeah, we walking, we ain't standing.
DMX slid into the passenger seat while Ja and the others piled into the back. The fan, starstruck at seeing X, immediately started going off about that rapper who sounds just like you, not even realizing Ja Rule was sitting right behind her. She kept dissing him without a clue, while X, trying to defuse the situation, quickly hushed her and pointed toward the back seat, signaling that Ja was right there. The air instantly turned heavy, an awkward silence that said more than words ever could. Ja never forgot that moment, and from then on, their relationship was scarred. Things between them would never be the same again.
Just by herself, boom. I said, yo, could you take a shit? Like, yeah, come on. Get in the car, them three in the back, I'm in the front.
Around that time, DMX began to feel like Ja Rule was switching sides on him, acting more Hollywood than real. X claimed Ja stopped showing love and just wasn't the same person anymore. One story he shared was about a night in an LA club when Ja wouldn't even walk over to his section to say what's up. That's when X really started feeling like Ja was moving funny and no longer rocking with him. Then, on December 5th, 2000, Funkmaster Flex dropped 16 minutes of Funk Volume 4, and on the track Do You featuring DMX, X let a jab fly straight at Ja, saying he was out here pretending to be him and that copying his style wasn't gonna take him far.
We're talking about DMX, Crackman X, okay? This is out of line, and it's hurting him right now that I'm bigger than him. It's f***ing killing him right now that I'm bigger than him.
DMX pulls back the curtain on the dark side. Irv Gotti eventually jumped into the chaos, calling Hot 97 to back Ja and claiming he had every right to fire back at DMX. But that move rubbed X the wrong way. While he was out in LA's filming a movie, word got to him, and he quickly phoned another station to check Irv, telling him to stay in his lane. To X, this had nothing to do with Gotti. It was strictly between him and Ja. And it was during this stretch that DMX dropped what many saw as the real reason behind his attacks, accusing Ja of being involved with men.
You know you be fucking niggas too, right?
No.
Yeah, man, some nigga that was styling his clothes and shit. I got the inside information, man. Some nigga that was styling his clothes for one of them shows got him ecstasy on one night and fucked him. Ja Rule was fucking niggas, I'm telling you, dog. Oh my mama!
This is where things got heavy, because DMX didn't just stop at Ja. Around this time, he began pulling the curtain back on what he thought was really happening in the industry, calling out record label execs for shady dealings and accusing certain artists of doing whatever it took, even compromising themselves, just to climb to the top.
What's going down with the industry, dog?
The industry is full of a bunch of dick-sucking, dick-riding,
Bending over the desk ass nigga, straight up like that. Whoever don't like it, bring it, nigga. Bring it. I don't give a fuck. Bring it.
Well, the industry is full of homo hating ass niggas.
He even doubled down on it in his track Where the Hood At, spitting the infamous bar, "Last I heard, y'all dudes was messing with the same chicks. I show no love to homo thugs. Scheiß, ti ta'alani ki komasids."
Last I heard, that niggas was having sex with the same sex. I show no love.
That verse had people buzzing, especially since years later, insiders started surfacing with stories that seemed to validate what DMX had been hinting at. One of the wildest came from Gene Deal, who once worked as Diddy's bodyguard. According to him, Puff had just picked up a stash of adult toys before heading into a hotel room with a well-known rapper. Gene says while he was holding down the door, a man showed up asking about his cousin, who just so happened to be Ja Rule. Gene told him Ja was in the room with Puff and didn't want to be disturbed. When the guy wouldn't back down, Gene said he had to put hands on him to keep.
I opened the door and the dude said, "Yo, I'm here for my cousin." I said, "Who your cousin?" And he said, Ja Rule.
Not long after, Gene says both Diddy and Ja Rule stepped out of the room with nothing but towels wrapped around them. According to him, they were clearly naked underneath, and the whole scene gave off an energy that just didn't sit right.
When I threw him into the piano, Puff and Ja Rule runs out the room. Puff got his towel, Ja grabbing his towel, but they butt the naked.
That story only fueled more rumors that maybe the beef between X and Ja wasn't just about music or style jacking. By then, the friendship was long gone, and what started as subliminals had turned into real-life street drama. Things hit a new level one day when DMX was in his office with his wife and young son. It was supposed to be a regular day, but right after X left the building, Ja pulled up with about 30 dudes deep. Him and his crew stormed the office supposedly looking for DMX, but according to X, Ja had purposely waited until he was gone just to make a scene and flex like he was about that life. DMX saw it as nothing but fake tough guy antics. But that wasn't the end. Next came the airport confrontation. Not long after, both of them ended up in Chicago and ran into each other at the airport. This time, there was no dodging it. Ja pressed up on X, demanding answers about why he wasn't rocking with him anymore, but X wasn't about to explain himself. He got right in Ja's face and things got heated fast, with X barking on him as the two argued. A few hours later, DMX tapped into his street ties and made a call to the head of the Latin Kings in Chicago. So when Ja tried to leave the airport that night, X had 10 cars deep waiting outside, the lot mobbed up with goons ready to make a statement.
In a hotel at the airport, on way to Chicago, my nigga Kato. Nigga was the head of Latin Kings, yo. Head Latin King.
Wow.
I mean, top dog. You know
That's
what I mean?
crazy.
Every time I came to Chicago, so he had 10 trucks at the airport waiting for me.
J. Rule, on the other hand, didn't have much backup with him, just a couple people at most. So when he saw all those cars and realized who they were with, the pressure hit hard. DMX had the upper hand and Ja knew it. Word is, X could have had him dealt with right then and there, but instead he chose to let him walk. According to X, he spared him that night. War on Wax. Later that year, on November 19th, 2002, Ja dropped his fourth studio album, The Last Temptation, and on 2 tracks, he sent clear shots at DMX. Just a few months later, on February 18th, 2003, the Cradle to the Grave movie soundtrack dropped, tied to the film starring DMX and Jet Li. On it was the now infamous track Go to Sleep featuring DMX, Eminem, and Obi Trice, a full-on diss aimed squarely at Ja Rule. Then, as if things weren't already wild enough, DJ K. Slay and Big Mike dropped their mixtape Go Hard or Go Home not long after, and sure enough, DMX had another track on there. This one was called Ruled Out, and once again X went straight at Ja Rule's neck. Another diss, another round. The back and forth just wouldn't stop. By the time 2004 came around, the tension between DMX and Ja Rule was still simmering. Even though the beef had cooled a little in public, X still wasn't finished speaking his mind. That same year, he pulled up to Tim Westwood TV in the UK and went off. He didn't hold back for a second, and at one point, X flat out said the only reason Ja Rule was even alive was because he let him live. A direct reference to that infamous Chicago airport moment where X had Ja cornered with cars and goons ready, but ultimately chose to spare him.
You know who the fuck I'm talking to, nigga. You only alive because of me, motherfucker. You only alive because of me. Yeah, remember Chicago. That's all I'ma say, Lo. Remember Chicago.
But while DMX was still fiery on the mic and in interviews, behind the curtain, his world was shifting, and not always for the better. By late 2004, X found himself in major legal trouble after getting arrested and slapped with a long list of charges, from drug possession and criminal impersonation to menacing criminal mischief, and even pretending to be a federal agent. To top it off, reports claimed he tried to carjack someone during the chaos. It was wild, and the fallout led to him being sentenced on November 18, 2005, to 70 days on Rikers Island. The truce. Strangely enough, that's where the story took a turn. While X was behind bars, Irv Gotti actually came to visit him, hoping to finally bury the beef between Ja and X. To everyone's surprise, DMX agreed. Time passed, and by July 31, 2009, Ja Rule dropped his mixtape, The Mirror. On the track Judas, he revisited his history with X, not in a hostile way, but with reflection, almost as if acknowledging how far things had gone. Then came a special moment for hip-hop fans who remembered when Ja, Jay-Z, and DMX were supposed to run the game together. On September 23, 2009, at VH1's Hip Hop Honors, cameras caught Ja Rule and DMX embracing, officially putting their long-standing feud to rest. And just months later, they even linked back up musically on N.O.R.E.'s track Stay Flawless. After that, the beef was done for good. Sure, they might have mentioned each other in interviews here and there, but it was always with mutual respect. The fire had burned out, leaving only history behind. A wild chapter in hip-hop that, thankfully, didn't end in bloodshed. Sadly, on April 9, 2021, hip-hop lost one of its rawest and most iconic voices when DMX passed away after a heart attack reportedly linked to an overdose. The world mourned, and Ja Rule was no exception, taking to Instagram to honor his former friend turned rival. Looking back, it's bittersweet that the Murder Inc. supergroup of Ja, Jay-Z, and X never fully came to life. It could have been legendary. But in the end, what mattered most was that the beef never turned deadly, and somehow, they found peace.